Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Washington, D.C. diplomat, the U.S. ambassador to Kenya in Washington, Lazarus Amayo, has called on the diaspora community based in U.S. to make sure that when they are planning the meeting with President Ruto, who is supposed to visit U.S. in December, they must make sure that it reflects the representation in that meeting must reflect the face of Kenya, because we are not in the election season. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and also like our video. We want to continue saying thank you very much for those who've been supporting us in this channel, the diaspora community, the Kenyan, the African team. Asanteni sana. And yes, World Cup is starting. So which team do I support? I support all the African teams. Yes. So what's happening? It's very interesting. There is an African Leadership Summit that is supposed to be held in US next month in December. And after President Ruto formed a department under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to look on diaspora affairs, of course, it activated that community. And there have been organizations, a mobilization within US for the diaspora community to meet President Ruto in US, because he said that he would get some time and meet them in the sidelines of that meeting. And the UK and the ambassador is saying that meeting, there's some conditions it must meet. And I think he's calling for a very important thing, because I'm a little bit privy to what had been happening in terms of mobilization. I've been following the activities, and I'll share with you some very interesting developments from the same. There are, according to 2020 report survey, there are 557,000 approximately people living in diaspora. Out of this, 157,000 is from US, 140,000 from UK, and others are scattered in different countries in Europe, Middle East, Africa, and Southern Asia. So diaspora communities is a backbone of our economy. And what ambassador is saying is very key. Let me just quit with some very interesting facts here. The Kenyans in diaspora send remittance home, which have increased annually, and now is a big part of the Kenyan economy. This income has boosted our economy immensely as the shilling continues to shake. And in fact, I've always said that the income from our diaspora community that is injected in this country directly and indirectly is really a very good, is a very good booster to our shilling vis-a-vis against the dollar, as our shilling now continues to depreciate. So, we sell, when we import things from the foreign countries, the standard currency is dollar. So we use a lot of Kenyan shillings to buy there. So if whatever is coming home from US is actually helping our economy, even us in the content creation, we really appreciate our audience in the US, in the UK, and the diaspora community. Even our income from that is better compared to the other African countries. And we're not saying that it's a bit of a preference. We're talking about facts, especially on the digital platforms. So this is a very interesting community, even for this country. So what ambassador is saying is that there are reports, and I want you to check maybe the photo you're seeing on your screen. That's a photo, it's a screenshot of, I think it was a bit of some document inviting people to participate, of course, in that. And it's just a letterhead, I think. participate in the said meeting. And you can see the UDA visibility. In fact, someone who sent it to me was telling me that, Kevin, look here. The visibility in this UDA, the UDA visibility here is overdone until it takes a political, it seems the meeting is being organized on some political grounds. In fact, some are even alleging that to get the groups have been clustered into 5 slots. So you try, if that one is full, you try another one, privy to that. So there seems to be another interesting take that is on this issue. It is Kenya Kwanza government that promised to look into diaspora affairs, but I don't think that department belongs to UDA. That's what the ambassador is saying. And he's calling on them that make sure you bring on board everyone. Now, on that matter, I spoke with former ambassador John Maina, a very good friend of mine. He said he was an ambassador until 2012 in some country. And he actually confirmed to me, and of course people from US, UK, and these areas, you can confirm to me, he was actually telling me that pettiness, self-serving toxicity, and pure jealousy plays out even the diaspora. And it is more poison that people differ along even tribal lines. You know, for example, he was telling me when an opportunities are somewhere in the rice and someone knows that, of course, you want to share. Even sharing, just sharing that. He was telling me, Kevin, someone should not lie to you that wale wako nje, those who are abroad are together. He worked with some focus groups where he was. And he was saying that the division, even in the diaspora, is there. Is there. Despite the fact that they come from the same country. And it's not only even in Kenya. Yeah. Even, it's not just Kenyans. Even you realize that there are some Ugandans, Ghana, Nigeria. Na hawapatani because of different interests. But the biggest factor that creates that division is the local politics. We need to mention that last general election, we saw active participation of the diaspora community. Both those who support Kenya Kwanza and those who support Azimio. And presidential candidates actually took time to meet them. They met the community, diaspora community, one-on-one. So that is why, you must applaud, and I actually applaud what the president did to create that department and the Foreign Affairs Ministry to look into that, because this is a community that is very important to this country called Kenya. The underlying reasons that divide Kenyans, even back in this country, still divide them even when they are away. Kindly, that is the tragedy of all this. So I can't underestimate the statement other than the need for that unity. And that's what he's saying. That organize, but stop it. Don't make it a UDA thing. Don't make it bring everyone on board, because the intention is very clear. We are past election. We are now into government. And everyone is in this government. Someone should not lie to you. Everyone is in government. There is only majority and minority. And you decide. I think I'm on both. I'm both majority and both minority. No one is out of government. I'm one person who don't take that narrative, because in terms of sharing the cake, everyone is entitled to it, even though sometimes it's the compromises on the political table. So, the real goals that can be achieved, they say, participation and inclusion in political process and governance. And everyone needs to. I know that compared to 2017, 2013, the number of people that voted in this general election is slightly higher than the other one. But not even half, still not half of that. That's the truth. Still not half of the diaspora community. If these guys are close to 557,000, imagine 300,000 people voting. Advantage they vote from point of knowledge, the quality voters. So they will have a voice back home. But for that to be achieved, and even the idea of, for effectiveness of that office, of the Foreign Affairs Department, It should be devoid of politics so that it serves all. Investments, safe investments, and of course, best world practices that can be adopted for them to remit to invest back home. The challenge that they've always had, and this is a testimony that if you talk to many people will tell you that, Kevin, we have relatives home, we are working hard, we want to support. They tell you buy shamba, buy land somewhere, unamlipa pesa. 4 years when you come back, you realize nothing ever happened. That is a testimony. That's a common problem that they have been talking about. So which is the best world practices for that? If you look at this channel, by the way, if I just ask you, where are you watching from? County 048, but which place? US, UK, where are you watching? And have you gone through this? In 2005, there was a Kenya Network of Diaspora, Kenya Diaspora Network, KDN, that was formed to bring Kenyans together who are staying in diaspora so that they can channel their remittance back home through World Bank. Somehow it collapsed because of such divisions, according to what I've also gathered. So we need to, that unity of purpose, I think, cannot be underestimated. Promotion of social welfare, social development, and culture of Kenyans in abroad. Yes, the biggest worry is that maybe the children we are bringing up, diaspora, do not understand even what Kenya is. There are those who have never come to Kenya. You understand what is it to be in Kenya? So all these are things we are talking about that we need to look at, and that needs devoid of politics. What's your experience in terms of that political division? And is what Ambassador is saying really something that can be achieved? Many of people have talked to telling me, hey, Kevin, it's not possible. It's not possible. It goes to even to tribal lines where someone's saying, oh, that tribe. How do you talk about tribe and you are not even in the Mko I can't underestimate that, guys. Thank you very much for listening to me. And if that has touched you, I think it's a message that you need to spread. And I'm also saying thank you for those who sent coffee. Maybe I need to pin my number today a bit. Yes, so I'll be so glad for your contribution. Asanteni sana. The diaspora community have really stood with us. Even during COVID, everything, you've been part and parcel of this country. I know you are heroes that are rarely celebrated. Times when you want to give state recommendations, you should give them to at least one or two from that end. That's my point.